The honourable member for Pearce.
Madam Speaker, the people of Western Australia face a historic Senate election. For only the second time since Federation, WA will be the only child of Australian politics. Minor parties and independents of near infinite variety have emerged to each claim status as the greatest friend of the state. 10 candidates in the election do not even live in WA. One recently said that he might visit if there was a compelling reason to do so. Whether it's a compelling idea that to represent 2.5 million people you should at least meet one of them, that will be for the West Australian people to decide. Perhaps the most dubious minor party claim to best friend status has received the greatest attention, that made by the Green Senator Scott Ludlam. As a West Australian, I found his short speech sufficiently distressing to warrant this even shorter response. Senator Ludlam, you criticised the Prime Minister for using three-word slogans, but then explained the Greens' vision is for a country that values education, innovation and equality. Aside from being characteristically vague and perhaps a little trite, this is of course itself a three-word slogan. Another three-word slogan springs to mind: 4 legs good, 2 legs bad. That's 6 words, Madam Speaker, but you get the point. In any event, double standards are not the issue. Senator, you criticised the Prime Minister for taxpayer-funded travel in the course of doing his job, but you did so in a speech you wrote on a plane which was a part of the taxpayer-funded travel that allows you to do your job. But cheap shots can be lived with. Senator, the closest you come to economic analysis is to characterise the world of government as a binomial choice between what you call predatory capitalism, pitted repetitiously against the public interest. In this zero-sum game, you claim the Abbott government consistently chooses against the public interest, and this is because, in your words, it is on the side of a number of groups that appear then in your speech as the villains of the peace: biotech corporations, oil and gas companies, uranium miners, a US intelligence agency, and last but not least, the very scary-sounding Hollywood copyright industrial complex. The truth is, of course, more complicated. Capitalism is not always, or even particularly often, a purely malign predatory force that consumes the environment and destroys individuals, nor, of course, is it always perfectly beneficial. However, the predominance of government-tempered free market capitalism in our social and political system has acted as an engine of amazing growth and prosperity. The free market's harness of humans' natural desire to better their personal circumstances by growing wealth has led in direct parallel to fantastic technological and scientific advances and the immense improvement of the human condition. To me, Senator Ludlam, your economic analysis is unsatisfying because it's more simple caricature than complex economic reality. But importantly, this disagreement can be aired without calling you names. What I find so thoroughly depressing about your speech is the swift and casual descent into deeply serious personal abuse, the type of mean-spirited vitriol that represents the worst excesses of poor parliamentary conduct. Outside the confines of the privilege that protects parliamentarians, if one citizen called another a racist or a homophobe, it would be a very serious defamatory matter indeed. But in Parliament, Senator Ludlam, you accused the Australian Prime Minister of being a homophobe and a heartless racist. The only basis for the accusation of homophobia appears to be his personal and temperately expressed view on the statutory definition of marriage. The accusation of heartless racism, the listener must infer, rests simply on the basis of the Coalition's policies designed to stop the people smuggling trade to Australia's shores. Reasonable people can disagree on the wisdom of marriage law reform. Likewise, disagreement may be expressed on the merits of offshore processing. Although dispute with the proposition that coalition policy has so far worked to stop people smuggling and is thus saving lives is increasingly harder to reasonably sustain. However, surely even the most robust disagreement does not require labelling those that take alternate views on such issues as racists or homophobes. Border protection was a central election policy supported by a solid majority of Australians. Your disagreement with the views of such Australians does not warrant them being labelled as racist. Change to the definition of marriage involves a complicated intersection of public policy, faith and conflicts between group and individual rights. It is a deeply personal issue for many, and those Australians who have reservations about such a change do not deserve, on your standards, to be called homophobes. The last parliament was tainted by a slide away from civil argument and a descent into personal abuse. Senator Ludlam, your speech no doubt was aided in, as they say, going viral by favouring the latter over the former. In my view, there are prices too high to pay for publicity.